Well, Steve, thanks very much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. How have you been able to satisfy your insatiable urge to hit cricket balls during lockdown?
Yeah, well, it's been very different, that's for sure. I picked up a bat once I think it was about a month ago. I had my first sort of hit back and hit him well. And then I thought, geez, it might be a bit too early to get back into it. So I put it back on the back burner for a bit, and I'll probably start again next week. But it's been, very different. Obviously, the world's incredibly different at the moment. Obviously, we just saw the test match, or the first two tests with no crowds over in England, and some good cricket played, but yeah, incredibly different. But it's been kind of good in a way, just to have a little bit of a break and freshen up again mentally, and get some good physical work in. Probably as fit as I've ever been at the moment, and as strong as I've ever been. So from that point of view, it's been good. But yeah, I'm ready to get back into it now, that's for sure.
When do you actually foresee your first proper match outside?
I think there's good conversations happening at the moment with us coming over to England for the one days and T20s there. So let's hope that that happens. Fingers crossed. And I'm sort of preparing for that at the back end of August to head over there and start, I think, early September or thereabouts. So not too far away now. So start batting next week and try and get myself into some rhythm again. And I'm looking forward to getting back out in the middle, that's for sure.
Is it a case of, do you get your wife Danny to do some throwdowns, or have you had any of that?
Nah, I haven't. Well, we're actually back training with New South Wales at the moment, but obviously, Victoria's kind of had a few spikes at the moment in cases of corona, and there's been a few cases popping up here in New South Wales. So the the near future's kind of a bit uncertain. But we've been back training with New South Wales, and guys have been hitting and doing all their stuff outdoors. So, I'll probably slip into that again next week if everything stays the same as it is now. But we'll just wait and see.
It's 10 years since you made your test debut against Pakistan, bizarrely at Lord's. What sort of player were you then? What sort of cricketer were you then? And you batted at number 8 in that test, and you took 3 wickets with your leg spin. So, can you remember what sort of cricketer you were then?
Yeah, I was a bit of everything, really. I remember, obviously, post Shane Warne, they were looking for a spinner to fill that void. And I happened to end up being one of the probably, 11 to 14, I don't know how many guys we used, blokes past him before obviously Nathan Lyons come along and taken that spot with both hands. But I remember I've always been more of a batter than a bowler. And I just remember playing for New South Wales, and they wanted to sort of drop me down the order and just to focus on my bowling, because they thought, that's my way into the Australian side. And so I started, I was batting a little bit lower. I think I was down at number 6 and maybe even 7 and 8 for a few games at some point, just to work on my bowling, really, which, I didn't really like at the time, because all I wanted to do was bat. But that was probably my, I guess, undoing as a bowler, particularly a leg spinner. I think you need to work so hard and rigorously in the nets on your bowling, and all I wanted to do was just bat in the nets and then come out and bowl in the game every now and again. So I was kind of forced to bowl in the nets, and then that's how it all started. And then played my first 2 tests, got dropped, and then I thought, right, what's my actually not at that stage. And then I sort of carried on just doing a little bit of bits and pieces, working on both, but kind of not devoting all my time to one or the other. Then I played the 3 tests in 10, 11 against England, batting at 6 and bowling a little bit. And then, yeah, got dropped at that stage, and it was like, right, what do I do? I think I need to either go down the spin bowling option or go down the batting option. And for me, that was a pretty easy answer. You know, like I said, I've always just loved batting, and I felt like I was starting to find a formula that could work. So I wanted to just focus all my hours in the nets on my batting and my fielding when I needed to, and just not let the burden of bowling sort of get in my way. Like I said, you've got to bowl so many hours in the nets being a leg spinner. So it was focusing on that. And yeah, I think it was probably, looking back now, one of the better decisions I've made.
What was that formula then? Because I know, you know, when you were sort of 16, you or even, you know, younger, you spent a lot of time, I think, with your father, didn't you? And to a lesser extent, Trent Woodhill, just honing a method. So in a way, was the formula you discovered sort of almost going back to what you used to do as a kid?
I think it was just, for me, it was not trying to please anyone and just finding my way to play. So I remember Trent Woodhill, who I worked with for a few years there, probably between like 16 and I think I had a hit with him, I reckon, when I was 20, 21 as well. And I remember him saying to me, he was throwing me balls, and I hit a ball off stump straight down the ground. And he's like, why don't you just hit that through the leg side? And I was like, I don't know, that's kind of, it's textbook almost to hit a ball on off stump kind of straight down the ground. Why do I hit it to the leg side? And I think I remember him saying something like, why don't you just hit it where the fielder isn't, essentially? You know, you've got both options. You can hit the ball straight, or you can hit it to where the fielder isn't. And, you know, that's batting, isn't it? You're trying to hit the gaps, and batting is about scoring runs. So why play a ball that's on middle stump to mid on and hit it straight to mid on? Why don't you whip it through mid wicket for four, you know, like, so it was finding the sort of balance. But at that stage, I was also working a lot on my defense. That was really important to me. Knowing where my off stump was, leaving the ball. I used to have a bit of a different setup. I used to tap my bat just before the bowler bowled the ball. And at that stage, I think my head was kind of dropping. So my eyes weren't level. My balance wasn't quite right. So I started to just hold the bat up. Everything just sort of felt a lot better. I had my eyes level and everything. And I just felt, I don't know, a lot more stable at the crease. And I was batting on middle stump at that stage, like I'd done pretty much for my whole career. And then, yeah, it wasn't until, you know, I got another opportunity playing for Australia. I played, I think, the whole Ashes over in England, where I just batted on middle stump and played the way I had been playing. And then we came back home for the Ashes series here and played the same way the first two tests, and then got to the Wacker. And I remember Stokesy and Broady in particular were bowling a fair bit back of a length and quite short at me. And I just wasn't getting myself in a good position. So I just randomly decided, you know, I'm going to take middle and leg stump, and I'm just going to have a little shuffle and put some weight on my back foot and get myself in a better position. And so I started doing it, and, you know, they pitched a few balls up and I hit some nicely down the ground, and a couple of short ones I was getting out of the way, and I was pulling them, and everything just sort of clicked into place. I thought, geez, this is, why have I waited so long to do this? And my prelim movement, but, you know, I know my game, and I know where my stumps are now, that, you know, I'm able to get myself in a position where I'm comfortable in the way I'm playing, and sort of able to dictate terms at times. And yeah, it's sort of progressed over the years, and there we are.
So in a way, I was wondering whether this was a calculated formula for making runs, as in there are less fielders on the leg side, and the average ball from a right arm bowler is angled in towards the stumps, and the natural side to hit it is the leg side anyway. So I was going to ask whether it was more of a a calculated thing, or whether it was a natural thing for you to do, or whether it was a bit of both?
Not really. I was kind of, the way I would go across my stumps and get to where I get to, I basically know that anything outside my eye line is not hitting my stumps. So that's a start. So I can just leave anything outside my eye line. And then basically it's like, if the ball's on my stumps, use my bat. If it's you know, if I'm missing it, I'm probably in some trouble, but I'd back myself to hit the ball, you know, 99 times out of 100, hopefully. And every now and again, I'll miss one. I'll say, well done, bad luck, Steve. We'll move on. But yeah, I think it's just about finding a formula that works for me. And I think that's the same with any individual. I think the game would be boring if everyone batted the same, you know, so find what works for you. Obviously, I think in the longer forms of the game in particular, a good defense is really important, and being able to be like disciplined and patient and things like that. A good defense is really important, but yeah, just finding a formula that allows you to score runs and that you're comfortable with, and yeah, just do it to the best of your ability.
People have sort of said you're unorthodox and everyone else is orthodox, but perhaps it's the other way round, actually. Perhaps you are the orthodox method because you're hitting the ball where there aren't fielders, which is the purpose of batting.
Well, that's it. I don't know what's orthodox or unorthodox. You know, I just do me and do it to the best of my ability. And you know, I've learned a lot over the years and got, you know, more experience the more I've played, and understand, you know, different tempos of the game, and you know, when to up the ante, when to you know, rein it back in. And I think one of the best things that I've sort of learned over the years is also catching my thoughts. You know, I think the mental side of the game is probably 90% of the game. So being able to catch my thoughts, you know, like there's sometimes out in the middle where, you know, I might be facing someone and I feel in a good rhythm, and it's like, I just want to smack this bloke back over his head. But then being able to catch it and go, right, you know, that's not the right thing to do right now. Yes, you know, I might be able to do it 9 out of 10 times, but what if it's the 10th time and things don't work out, and I'll be sitting back in the sheds and I'll be angry at myself for playing some stupid shot. So put your head back down and concentrate on the next ball. And yeah, I think that's one of the things I've been able to learn over time is catching my thoughts and stopping, you know, myself from giving into urges to play different shots and things like that.
I've studied Bradman's method a bit, and you know, there have been comparisons made, certainly in terms of performance, with you and Donald Bradman, which I know are very flattering. I'm sure you find those flattering, but there are similarities in the way that you play as well. Have you watched video of Bradman or read about him much, or is it just a natural coincidence, really?
No, I really haven't watched much at all on Bradman. Obviously, a fair bit before my time. But yeah, look, he obviously had a method that worked for him, and
you know, he went back. He went pretty much back. I mean, this shot here shows, you know, a typical shot. He tended to get outside off stump and hit a lot okay, through the leg side, and he played that swivel pull shot, right, which you do as well. And yeah, you know, he also kept the ball on the ground pretty much. Played it very late. Looked to, you know, yeah, make the bowler bowl kind of where he wanted to, I suppose. And yeah, but and also he had that sort of slightly circular batting motion as well in his back lift. But yeah, you're saying all that's just coincidence. Maybe then the fact that it's coincidence proves that it works.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon I got the sort of go out with my hands and the bat probably from Mark Waugh more than anyone. He was probably the person I love watching as a kid, and you know, he sort of used to bring the bat out and round. So you know, your hands kind of you get in that sort of muscle memory, and it's hard to change that kind of thing from when you're young. So I guess that's where it probably started for me. And just sort of carried on doing it.
Cricket, our national treasure? Or dying irrelevance? Bodyline, tactical genius? Or national disgrace? The 100, inspired innovation? Or misguided mistake? Join the cricket conversation with a subscription to the Cricketer magazine.